Welcome to the Loudspeaker Brain podcast. I want to tell you what I just witnessed. I don't know if you heard yet, but yesterday there was this protest or rally thing downtown that turned incredibly violent and racist and deadly. I was there. It left me shook. It made me want to write the song just to get off my chest how I feel about what I witnessed and all the crazy shit that's going on in the world today, and all the violence and racism and everything burning and the city being on fire. Anyway, this song is called Writing on the Door. You know there's never much time to control the heat. The people out back shiver when they speak, and while the stories from the past night enter the street, you'll see me walking away, 'cause I feel you wanna hunt me down, you wanna hook me up to your latest misery, scramble your thoughts across the city walls, while the world outside can't wait to disagree. And you can say what you want, man, write it on my door. I'm drunk on your ideal, wrapped up in your war, and say what you want, man, write it on my door. There's so much distortion, why you keeping score? They say what they want and then write it on my door. Put me down for your problem, rob me to the core. Say what you want, man, write it on my door. There's so much distortion squandered on the floor. While we shot down in the middle of the morning. While we shot down in the middle of the morning. The rejected class of history's tired gather on the pavement with guns on their sides, and with desperate words they talk of martyr's pride. And now I'm walking away, 'cause how many more times must the war bells toll to fight it over and over while you burn the city till you're running, bleeding, and you wanna cry? Is this the world I inherited from history? And you can say what you want, man, write it on my door. I'm drunk on your ideal. Sorry. What's that noise? What hurts? Something's taking over my body. Something's taking over my body. What is overtaking this body is quite the superior life form. Me, a superior life form, who could no longer bear those foul harmonies expelling from his neck. From atop my perch inside my home dimension, Medium City, I'd been sealing my ears with my fingers as if the savage sand winds of the Sahara had been smiting them. And I said unto myself, "Oh, dearest spokesmaestro, must this audience be subject to such rudimentary verses? Is it not your deepest duty to spare the audience from such refuse?" I had to leap down, and so, most simply, I, the spokesmaestro, the most venerated and celebrated spirit to spring forth from Medium City, simply appropriated that singing creature's physical form and, ever most gently, replaced his spirit into a pocket dimension between the outskirts of your dimension and Medium City. But let us find some quiet. That wretched sounding singer had one salient notion. Your cities, indeed, burn. I have been gazing upon your dimension for some time. For far too long you have felt as if the vines of the jungle have been penetrated and weaving throughout your land. And now lightning has struck the highest jungle tree. A blaze is growing, with you and your beloved ones shivering frightfully before the swiftly encroaching flames. You shut your eyes and with silence utter, "Why? What you have ever felt as a mouse toyed with in a tiger's paw, or on the bottom end of a string for a puppeteer to withdraw. You return through violent cycles, you revolve within like a wheel. Each new day brings more blood on the road, each night no cause revealed. Oh, but once you were magnificent, ruled the roost in bygone times. In that era, you were upright, kings of justice, peace, pride. You'd raise a city up so high, built more and more to decorate the sky. One known human race. You began the ride onward for the gallop of mankind. But soon enough, humanity had a collar round its neck when an unknown force possessed you with violent visions while you slept. It was the age you first were gripped by the hand of an ancient god, the overseer of Medium City. Do you know the name of SHOZ? SHOZ. Yes, the name of SHOZ is not one which many of you may know just yet, but in those early centuries of human history, just as you'd crawled out from the caves and had awakened from the half-slumber of a dim-eyed, groaning ape existence, and began hammering together little cities of your own, did this unknown deity named SHOZ first step into your world. And one night he descended upon your ancient cities, passed from home to sleeping home, and began torching your soft minds with this one dark dream. You were standing on a burning roof, choking on the ash, your children yelling down below, "Come save us, we are trapped!" The folk from nearby cities were circling your home, brandishing torches and casting heavy stones, chanting, "We will drag you off, then your family after you. There are many more of us than there is of you." Then they broke down your door, dragged your children by the feet to a pit in the middle of town, then set fire to the heap. The crowd threw more bodies in, grandchildren and your future kin, the unborn, your descendants lost in the fire and in the wind. And then the mob howled while beating on their chests, "Your land is now our land, your home is now our nest." Upon waking from this dream, mankind's blood pumped with fear, swore to torch the nearby town while taking up a spear. And as you burned your neighbors' cities alongside a violent mob, unknowingly you chanted the name of your new god. SHOZ. The ability and cunning to rival SHOZ's own power would take pity upon you, and thus carve time from his most distinguished duties within Medium City to gracefully deliver you out from the cyclone of hatred, ignorance, and war SHOZ had imprisoned you within. Yes, what? Whomever might that have been? Well, as it happens, 10 millennia ago, I cared little for your glow. I dwelt in Medium City, a dimension near your own. The Medium City chorus, the choir I had steered, had been disrupted in rehearsal when a cry had struck my ear. Oh, much it did disturb me, the wailing of the sound. So down from my dimension, I set foot upon your ground, and as I followed that distant cry, I soon saw cities being burned, and I saw men being butchered in the dirt. I saw families dragged out of their homes. I saw men beating children's heads with stones. And soon I came upon one house made of straws, being ravaged by marauders who yelled the name of SHOZ. Knowing dark madness accompanies that name, I sought to divert the men before they set the house aflame. "Good men," I cried, they turned their heads. I appeared right by their sides, and before they could react, I slipped inside one of their minds. Lovely space inside the mind.
Leave my head!
Come along now, Ravager.
Where am I? Why is everything dark here? Who are you?
I'm called the Spokesmaestro. We sit now inside your head. Now, why did you screech that name earlier as you set fire to that family's straw house?
I cannot think here. It's too painful.
What's too painful?
My sadness. That night.
Show me.
How did you... This is my home. In my city. On that night. see my home on fire. Oh, why did you bring me here? I wanted to forget.
Come now, you have my ear.
There was a great fire in my city. Men came at night. I didn't know them. They came to my home, stripped my clothes off me, took my bowls and pots. They weren't finished. My daughter was there. One man crushed her head under his foot. My wife shrieked as she watched this. They struck her, carried her off, and burned my home down with their torches. I fled, barely with my life. That night I slept, hiding and shaking in the cold beside a small hill. In my dream that night, he appeared to me.
Who?
He showed me who these men were that took away my family and home. It was the men of the nearby city. He showed me this was so. In my dream, I heard him say, "In my name, you will burn their city, and you will burn them as they burned you." I awoke, gathered other men from my city who lost their families too, and marched to the neighboring city, spears and torches in hand. No, we torched their huts and villages down, and we did it in his name, and we know he was pleased.
How did you know his name?
Letters of his name glowed on everything in my dream. They were S H O Z S H O Z S H O Z S H O Z SHOZ.
Oh, and even though on that day and in the coming days following my arrival to your world, I taught that marauder you just heard, and his fellow ravagers, and indeed the marauder's victims, and their villagers, and even soon all of humanity's cities that were at war at the time, to break SHOZ's violent spell over their minds, therefore ushering in a new dawn of peace and unity for mankind. Time and again throughout human history, SHOZ would return to your world to possess your minds with visions that ignited fear and hatred of your fellow man, thus spinning anew the cycle of human violence and misery. So when your history books tell of a mob on a street chasing a mother and her child, then killing them on their feet, or a massive crowd calling for the death of your fellow man, or an endless bloody war over one strip of land, or a yawning mass grave after a genocide is sparked, or when today you see a riot burn your city in the dark, or when you see mankind set loose like a pack of wild dogs, whoever did drop the leash, who to blame for its cause? S H O Z S H O Z S H O Z S H O Z SHOZ. And oh, it pains me to say this, but I fear SHOZ has once again returned to your dimension, but this time in a form that is hidden to many in this world. And what is more, SHOZ has amassed an army of faithful followers amongst some in your world who are eager to carry out his will. And he will cause more destruction and bloodshed if he and his followers are not soon halted. But do not fall into despair, for as each time I have returned to aid you in your struggle against SHOZ whenever he has assailed your world, so too have I reappeared now, once more, with a sincere pledge to reveal to you the ways in which to finally rid the world of SHOZ's presence, and once and for all, banish him back to Medium City. So, if you are truly sincere in your desire to safeguard a secure future for all of your beloved ones, then you must listen to the next chapter in my tale. Therefore, I urge you to press the subscribe button to follow this podcast, and starting next week, together, we will begin to fight back against SHOZ. Farewell for now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Spinning Wheel Podcast. My name is Webb. This is a special Red Alert edition of the podcast. Over the past several months, someone calling himself the Spokesmaestro has emerged from absolutely nowhere with a new popular podcast that's now surging with followers. In this podcast, he peddles conspiracy theories, and then, during recent episodes, he's been encouraging his listeners to take to the streets, to go to the protests going on now downtown, and to go ahead and, I quote, safeguard their quote-unquote futures. And I have it from some good sources that he is directly responsible for the violence that's been happening at these rallies. In today's episode of the Spinning Wheel Podcast, we will pierce to the heart of the mystery of who this spokesmaestro really is, as I will be going undercover at an upcoming gathering of the new cult that he runs in this city. And I'll be live streaming the whole thing online. Who knows what we will uncover together? Let's start the program.